We got Mike Story, and he's live in person, and our internets are kind of better, I think.
How's it, Rob? Is it good? Like, we had some technical difficulties. I'm really bummed I wasn't able to get on the recap show last night because I had some things to say, but that's not why we're here tonight. We're here to talk waivers, right? The people want to hear about waivers.
Yeah, 100%. We can do a little bit of what your Bears take in a second, because I think it was pretty awesome from what I could kind of gather. And I know your feelings in general, because you've been speaking these feelings to me since June, and they're kind of coming to fruition a little bit. Yeah, it sucked you couldn't make the show, but there'll be many more recap shows to join.
Awesome.
And I stayed out for almost 3 hours last night again, so I got to stop doing that.
You're an Iron Man. Cal Ripken would be jealous.
I am. Damn straight. What's up, Blake? So we're going to do a little thing on the Bears here. And well, we're going to call, we're going to go to our two big things, because I think that's important. So I'm going to get you two big things.
You couldn't see
favorite. That's my favorite thing.
I was bopping along to the elevator music you had going on.
It's not bad, right? Yeah. So give me your one big thing. So give me your Ron Jeremy, and I'll give you my big thing.
I'll keep it a little more truncated than I had ready to go for last night, because, again, the people are here for waivers. But my big thing is the Bears organization is a mess from the top down. And I was talking with my brother about this. I was saying that the Bears keep making bad hires, and they keep making foolish draft picks, and it's a process thing. He said, well, the process for Ben Johnson was correct, regardless of the outcome. And I'm not so sure about that. You take a guy who thinks he's smarter than everybody else in the room and needed to prove it in this draft by drafting Colson Loveland 2 spots before Tyler Warren, and drafting Luther Burden, who's barely seen the field, who barely has any targets this year. 2 rookies that were highly drafted. This is an organization, I know it wasn't Ben Johnson's draft pick, but 2 years ago they took a punter 40 spots before Devon Achane. They had 2 chances to get draft Devon Achane, and they chose not to. And it starts at the top. It's the McCaskies. They get their fingers and everything, and it filters down to Ryan Poles. The extension of Ryan Poles was one of the most egregious things I've ever seen in the summer. He has not put a championship, even contending team on the field. People are ready to anoint the Bears as one of the contenders in the NFC North without having seen this offensive line gel, without seeing Caleb Williams in this new scheme. Do I think it's going to get better? Yes, of course I think it's going to get better. Ben Johnson is a smart guy, as much as I rag on them. But the bottom line is, until the culture changes and players and managers and owners are held accountable, this organization is going to continue to languish in mediocrity. And it's unfortunate, because you wouldn't know it being around me on Sundays, but I want the Bears to win. I love the Bears. I've been a Bears fan for decades. And it's just heartbreaking to see where they're at. So that's just it. From a fantasy perspective, the glimmer of hope is Luther Burden. If you got Luther Burden on your team, you're not Luther Burden. Excuse me. It's Roma Dunze. If you got Roma Dunze on your team, you're happy, because that looks to be a Caleb Williams guy. Now, Caleb Williams is going to make some terrible mistakes, so I'm not too sure. I think he's going to be a lot of variance. He's got a nice floor with the rushing, but you saw some of the throws he was making on Sunday. The dude's not playing against Oregon State and Colorado anymore, right? He's in the NFL. So those linebackers are faster. The safeties are smarter. All about this Caleb Williams game, it leaves a lot to be desired. We'll see where things go. I do think if you got Caleb Williams as your QB2, you're going to be fine. You can play him in matchup spots. Like, we've got him on a league together. Our starter is Drake May, and you're going to be fine. But if you got Roma Dunze, I think you're pretty happy. Anything else, I don't want really any other piece of that Bears offense.
I'm not worried about Caleb from a fantasy perspective. The worry is that defense is just absolutely trash. DJ Moore should be fine too. And we'll get to all your questions here in a second, fellas. My final Bears thoughts is this: they suck, and they're going to get last in this division by a mile. It's like we're going to win 6 games maybe. And the film was awful. It's awful. I have to play this clip because it's one of my favorite clips from Waterboys. This is Ben Johnson watching the film of the Lions beatdown of the Bears on Sunday.
This is where they strip the ball from us, and then we miss 1 tackle. There are 2 tackles, right? Who drops the ball? Whoops, he has time to pick it up and dust it off and run in for a touchdown before our guys even know what's going on.
Fucking love that, man.
I just saw something on social media today. It was from the Waterboy. It was Ben Johnson's face on Coach Klein, and he's got the how to coaching college football for dummies. It said how to head coach in the NFL for dummies. Ben Johnson reading it.
Yeah, that's amazing. My thing I just want to ask you on is I touched on this yesterday, but just the rookie running backs, your panic level. Genty, Hampton, Henderson, Harvey. I think we both agree we're not as panicked on Genty as maybe some.
I'm not as bad. I'm not panicked on any of these guys. People always now. Do I think that rookie running backs were overdrafted this year? Yes, except for Ashton Genty. I think that he's as much of a talent, and eventually the coaching staff in Las Vegas is going to realize that and actually give him reasonable touches. The fact that he was down to like a 64% snap share last night is embarrassing for that organization. So, but Hampton was drafted in the third rounds in some cases, and Henderson 3-4, Harvey in the 5-6 range. The problem is people get antsy because it sucks being 0-2. And if you got Hampton and Harvey on your team, you're probably 0-2. The thing is, like, it takes time. If you look at through the first 2 games, I think that Achane had like 5 total touches in his first 2 games. Don't forget, Alvin Kamara didn't even see the field for the first 3 games in his career. So
you got to realize, Terry, we did not draft those guys to be starters. Nothing. Like the Achane, Alvin Kamara were not even drafted typically in their rookie years.
That's a good point.
That's the difference.
And so you'll see some pushback from some fantasy analysts online where, you got to be patient, you got to be patient, you got to be patient. My thing is, like, how patient can you realistically be with somebody who you drafted in the third round? Well, you're gonna slot in who to replace him? Jalen Warren, maybe, okay. Javonte Williams, sure. But if you don't have one of those other guys, if you drafted somebody like give me a guy who's kind of on
like David Montgomery could be started, but
David Montgomery, I was thinking if you had Aaron Jones, you're
like Nick Chubb, for instance. Like Nick Chubb.
Like Nick Chubb.
It sucks.
That's
You
a good
start Nick Chubb over the guy you drafted in the third round.
He stumbled into a touchdown last night because they needed to let them score so they could get back into it, right? But the thing is, like, these guys were drafted as starters, and I think it's something that we're gonna have to keep in the back of our now. Rookie wide receivers, I'm actually thinking that we've got some really good performers. I think that things are pretty solid there from where guys are drafted. But with rookie running backs, it's something that we're going to have to be keeping in mind when Jacoby Lane from Texas Tech gets drafted. When he has a good combine and then a good camp, and he starts screaming up draft boards. He lands in a good situation, right? Like the Cowboys draft Jacoby Lane, or the Cowboys draft that kid from Houston, Dean Connors, and it's the next big thing. Well, coaches don't see it like that. Like, coaches don't see rookies as these full investments, right? These guys got to earn it, and we need to remember that next year.
100%. And that was the, a couple channels in particular. The counselor, I need to chill on the rookie thing. I'm just going to go answer some questions real quick. Then we'll go through the 4 rookie names after that, just a minute each, not even, and do our panic meter. Anton, I don't know if you're still in here. He says my running backs are Pollard, Hampton, Mason, Char. I'll put it on the thing for you.
Yeah.
Pollard, Hampton, Mason, Charb, JCM. He's got London, Lamb, Marvin Harrison, Butte, Wandale, Godwin, Shakir. Should I accept Marvin Harrison, Pollard, and Wandale for Higgins and Kamara?
Is that a PPR?
No. Doesn't say. If it's PPR, I would do it.
Yeah, if it's PPR, I would for sure do it. If it's half, it's a lot closer. Pollard, right. Hampton, Mason, Sharp. Should I do except Pollard and MCH?
I'm doing it because I think Marvin Harrison and Higgins are equal, and I'd rather have Kamara than Pollard.
Yeah, I agree. Kamara is seeing elite usage right now, not just in the pass game. That was kind of what we were worried about, that he wasn't going to get the ground stuff, but the targets corrected themselves in week 2.
And you can just go ahead and flip Kamara in 3 or 4 weeks when he keeps on popping off. Elite says, should I drop Ollie Gordon for Troy Franklin? If you need a wide receiver, go ahead and do that one.
You have our permission. You can do it, yeah.
I have a trade offer on the table. I gave away DK and D-Hop and receive A.J. Brown. Should I accept it? Yes. Essentially, that's just A.J. Brown for DK. So you're doing that one.
Easy. And you
should I start DJ Moore or Debo Samuel? I would probably go Debo unless we have an injury, if Daniels doesn't play.
God, if Daniels is healthy, like, that's an easy Debo Samuel. If it's not, who the Bears got? They got the Cowboys. That defense is really bad. I'd probably go with DJ Moore. Yeah, if Daniels isn't playing. If Daniels is playing at all, I'm going Debo.
Should I drop RJ Harvey for Mason? I can't believe Mason's available.
That's crazy. But yeah, you can drop. There's got to be somebody else you could drop though, other than RJ Harvey.
Yeah, Caleb Johnson for Romeo Dubs again. Caleb Johnson. It's going to be a long shot for him for a while.
Yeah. Easy drop.
No way I benched Genty for Javonte, right? I mean, you can't. I wouldn't do it because the second you do it, Genty's going to have his like coming out party game, and you're going to kick yourself.
Bears offense or Bears defense is also really bad. That could be a sneaky shootout game, but no, I'm not benching Genty right now.
No. J Bow Wow says, should I drop Caleb Johnson for Tyler Algier? At this point, yes. Caleb Johnson has more of a path to playing time without an injury, I'd say down the road, but Tyler Algier is the league winner of league winners.
I mean, how long is it going to take Caleb Johnson? You got Arthur Smith there. He's notorious for not giving rookies chances. You got Jalen Warren,
especially when you fucking really do dumb shit.
And they keep giving what's his name touches there.
Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell. Thank you.
They might bring in a third guy. Who knows? You know, now they'll replace Caleb Johnson and play another guy fucking 5 snaps. Jonnu Smith. Let's go through these rookie running backs and I want to hear your panic level 1 to 10. Genty. And this is also based on where you drafted them. Where you drafted them, though. Because the fact is, a lot of people drafted Genty over Derrick Henry. So let's factor that in. It's got
I mean, that was a mistake. Like, we had the opportunity to draft Genty over Derrick Henry when we chose not to. But, like, hindsight's 20/20. I understand Genty's a phenomenal talent. You saw flashes. If they would commit to him and they would commit to, like, there's no reason that Geno Smith should be dropping back 45 times a game. That seems a little ridiculous. He had a really bad game. He put the offense in really bad situations, a lot of second and longs, a lot of third and longs. He turned the ball over 3 times. Nothing was going right for that team. So I'm a 2. I'm not panicked about Genty at all. The talent is going to win out there. And they put Dylan Laube in the 2-minute drill, but you don't think that the calls for Pete Carroll's heads are like, we drafted a running back at 6 overall, and you're playing 6th round or 6th round pick Dylan Laube. So I'm a 2.
Yeah, I'm a 5. I'm gonna get to a couple more questions, and we'll go to the next name here. Should I trade this from Stickbug? Should I trade Terry McLaurin and Jordan Mason for Ashton Genty? Oh, I might. That's so tough because I think Mason's gonna outperform Genty the next month. So that's maybe why I wouldn't do it. But long term, I like this. If you're 2-0, do it. If you're 0-2, don't.
I mean, not that like Carson Wentz might be an upgrade for JJ McCarthy. He's probably not at this point in his career. I have real concerns about that offense, up to and including Jordan Jefferson. So can we say with certainty?
It's still better than the Raiders offense, though. I mean, it's close, but it will be. It will be. So I'm probably not doing that, honestly, just because Jordan Mason. Well, who would you rank higher this week, Jordan Mason or Genty? I'm ranking Jordan Mason higher.
I think we need to see it from Carson. I think we need to see what he's got left. So I would go Genty. I'd rank Genty higher.
All right, we got Chef in the chat. Would you all trade K9 and Genty for CMC? He's got Henry, K9, Genty, JCM. Yes, I would. Man, that's so tough. Probably I like to get the best player in the trade, and CMC, while healthy, is clearly the like top, say, RB1 or RB2.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you got to forget where you drafted these guys, right? Genty was obviously a very first round pick, and Walker, where was he going? 3rd round, somewhere in that range. You got to kind of
3rd or 4th.
Got to put that out of your head. Like that's a sunk cost. Genty is not a first round pick, and CMC, even with Mac Jones under center, he's every fantasy player's wet dream. Like, you want CMC in your team, right? So yeah, I would do that.
Yes.
And you're also thinking,
okay,
like, Go ahead.
Oh, you finish what you're saying.
Oh, I was just saying, like, when you trade 2 top tier guys, 2 big name guys, you're also feeling like the other guy might feel like he gets one over on you. Like, I'm only giving up 1. I'm getting 2. I'm getting 2 big guys. But yeah.
K9's still a question mark. The Smitty says I'm 0-2 in a 2 quarterback league. Daniels, Purdy out are our backups, and the backups are Ward and Rattler. Browning and Mac Jones are out on waivers. Who would you prioritize and what order? Browning for sure, because Browning's going to be starting for the next 3 months minimum. Mac Jones, you got a 3-week rental.
Yeah,
and I'd probably still rank Browning ahead of Mac Jones too.
Daniels, yeah, but okay. Backups are Ward and Rattler. I don't know that either of those guys are startable. I don't know that I would even bother having them. I would probably ditch both of them and go after Browning and Mac Jones. Mac Jones, while Purdy is hurt, and then hopefully Browning settles into the role there, and you got him for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Would you trade Nico for Tetaroa and Javonte Williams? That's an interesting one. So you're trading your Nico for Tet McMillan and Javonte Williams. If you need the depth, yes. If not, no. Because as much as I've been digging Tet so far, and he looks like he's going to be a stud, like a set it and forget it wide receiver 2, I still believe in Nico. And Tet and Javonte Williams is probably a yes for most people. I call it a wash. I just love Nico, and he's gonna pop off here soon.
What is your concern with that offense? Like, amazing touchdown catch, but Stroud looks pretty inaccurate. Can't push the ball downfield. That offense struggled in general to move the ball. I'm a little concerned with Nico's usage. Plus, you got Christian Kirk coming back. Shouldn't hurt that much, but I don't know.
That should help, man. That should help. This is an easy one. Marvin Harrison or Diggs from Josh. This is Marvin Harrison by a mile. Yeah. Stephon Diggs is close to looking washed, bro.
Yeah, it could come down to at the end of the year, we're like, wow, I guess I kept Diggs on my roster all year long, and he didn't actually.
For what?
He got about 60% snap share.
Yeah. Game Point says traded Tucker Kraft and A.J. Brown for T-Mac and Mike Evans. What side are you leaning towards? You must have had a better tight end. You might have had like Tyler Warren or something. It depends who your tight end is, but if you did, I like the trade for you if you had a decent backup tight end.
Yeah, this is all about who needs that tight end. Whoever needed that tight end. If you just traded Tucker Kraft and you went way down, like you probably lost that trade. If you're starting
right. If you're starting waiver wire shit,
Juwan Johnson or something along those lines.
We got, should I start Hurts or Herbert? I still think it's Hurts, especially this week. It's Hurts.
I'm going Herbert. I think that.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I looked into the metrics after last night, and they are first in the league in pass rate over expected. Like, they are
That's
first.
True. Like, by a mile. I get it.
They're first and foremost a passing team, and neither running back looks like they're ready to take a big workload, so that doesn't concern me. Keenan Allen looks just as good as he did in Chicago last year. Quentin Johnson's always a deep threat. Like, this. I think it's Herbert. Plus, he's got sneaky rushing.
Well, he's running the fuck out of the ball. Did you see he was going 21 miles an hour in one of those rushes?
It's
unreal
for a guy who's 6'5".
Kaepernick. Yeah. Acting Difference says, would you guys trade Zay Flowers for Kyron? I'm getting Kyron. I would not do that. You haven't been tuning into the show. Our panic meter on Kyron. It's mostly the Blake Corum thing.
Yeah, the snap share difference between last year and week 1 of this year and week 2. That's a big concern. Hopefully it's a blip on the radar for you Kyron managers, but if not, and Flowers, like, I thought Flowers was going to be a little bit of a floor guy, and he's turning out to be a boom guy. I like what they're doing there in Baltimore.
Feels like not only that, the thing about Flowers is he's actually consistent. It looks like he's going to be consistent. He used to be just like have these games where he goes like 4 for 30. I think those days are over. I think that they realize that he is the best player on that offense, minus Derrick Henry and Lamar, the best playmaker, on the outside. And they're moving him all around the formation. I love what they're doing with him there. And we've always loved Zay Flowers. So,
yeah.
He has Tyler Warren, Game Point says. So that's why he did that trade. So you won that trade then, for sure.
For sure.
Because we think Warren, I'm a Kraft guy. You're a Warren guy. We love them both, though.
Aren't they the number 1 and 2 tight ends in the league right now?
That is true. We got, let's see, quick question before I sleep. I just traded Addison, QJ, and Braylon Allen for Devontae Adams and Benson. You crushed that trade, bro. I mean, Addison's coming back to a broken offense. Quentin Johnston's an overrated asset, and Braylon Allen is just a backup.
You got Devontae Adams and Benson. You got a locked and loaded wide receiver 2 in Devontae Adams, and you got a playable asset in Trey Benson with huge injury upside versus Quentin Johnson scored 3 touchdowns, but he's not going to do that every week. Braylon Allen looks like a non-factor in that team. Also, they're going to be missing Justin Fields for at least a week. And Jordan Addison has when he comes back, he's going to be dealing with Carson Wentz. So you crush that trade.
What about Zay for AJ Brown and Kelsey? The AJ Brown side's the winner because I still would. I don't care what I've seen. I still want AJ Brown over Zay Flowers. I'm not going to be fucking crazy with this shit. Agreed? It's close now, but you still want AJ Brown over Flowers, right?
The gap is narrowing, but I definitely still want AJ Brown over Zay Flowers. And getting Kelsey's a nice bonus. You can go ahead and move on from Ferguson.
Yeah, all right. Let's get to the next running back. Worry here is Amarian Hampton. Then we're going to get to waivers here in like 5 minutes. So Amarian Hampton, what is your worry with what we saw with his performance, with his stats, with Najee looking better and playing more towards the end, with the fumble, with the fact that team's not running the ball, with all that stuff? What is your worry on Hampton? Base it on the 3rd-round draft capital that you spent on him. And he's your RB1, most likely, your RB2 if you want heavy RB. What's your worry?
I am, for the immediate near term, the next couple 2-3 weeks, it's serious concern. It's an 8. Long term this season, I'm not that concerned. I'm probably at a 4 because we've seen what Hampton can do when on the field prior to this, plus in training camp. I don't know exactly what's going on there other than the line, which looks amazing for pass protection. For some reason, can't run block unless it's Najee Harris. Like, it's one of those situations where Hampton is struggling. He's hitting the backfield. He's struggling to gain a yard or two, and then Najee comes in and rips off a 5-yard run. I'm not sure if it's a scheme thing or what, but you can't start him. I'm like, you cannot stand, like, the fact that he has 2 mistakes in a row. Like, he gave the Chiefs points at the end of the half in week 1, and then that fumble, not protecting the ball and the handoff. Like, Harbaugh's not going to tolerate that. You can't start him. I'm guessing you're going to see a lot of Najee Harris next week.
The saving grace is they didn't cost them either game, but Harbaugh doesn't care. I don't think he's a guy that cares about that. Like, a mistake's a mistake, right? What do you think? What would your prediction be for the snap share just for next week? Let's call it just next week. They are against the Broncos, right? A sturdy ass defense. Snap share Hampton versus Najee. Are you going to say it's a 50-50 or you think it's 60-40 Najee?
60-40 Najee. I'd feel
not
very
good. That's not good at all.
Not good. You can't start Hampton next week. Like, you must have that.
That's fucked.
Like,
that's and Najee looks good. Najee looks good. I don't know what the fireworks blew off some of that fat off his ass, but like something happened where he looks good. He looks spry, man.
Yeah, I mean, would you start? You'd start Devashal Tootin over Hampton, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't go that far because you have worries with workload there too.
Jalen Warren.
So yeah, Warren, Chubb, Montgomery. You know that line of backs.
Krosky Merritt.
All right. Yeah, Krosky Merritt, kind of an X factor, but I like where he's at on a better timeshare. Travion Henderson, what is your worry level on Travion Henderson right now?
Oh, I'm really worried about Travion Henderson. Mike Vrabel feels like the kind of coach who like a Bill Belichick disciple, where like you make a mistake, and in Travion Henderson's case, in case you weren't aware, he had 3 holding penalties on the first drive. That is going to put him in the doghouse. Now, it's interesting because the plan was to get him more snaps, to get him more work that game, but you can't keep somebody in there if he's a liability to the team, right? Like, when a dude remember when Deontay Johnson kept dropping passes? He was clearly the best player on the Steelers that year, but he just could not catch passes. He got benched for the second half. Like, that whole wheel route that Travion Henderson took for 40 yards down the seam, that was designed for Travion Henderson. I'm sorry, that Stevenson took down the seam. That was designed for Travion Henderson. So it's a serious concern. I'm at a 7 or an 8. Like, if Stevenson, for whatever reason, got dropped in your league after week 1, and he didn't get picked up, or he didn't get drafted, if you're in a shallow league, go get him right now. He's a starting running back in the NFL, and he needs to be on rosters.
So you're like an 8 for Henderson?
Yeah, it's a real concern. He's one of the first 4 running backs. He's the one that I had the most concern with coming in, and that's just kind of solidified the concerns. It doesn't look like he's ready for a full-time role.
I'm less concerned about Henderson just based on where you drafted him, right? 2 rounds later than Hampton. So that's why I'm concerned equally for both of them, if that makes sense. I believe Henderson. I know Henderson's a better player, more dynamic, and he's going to be able to carve out a role. At this point, I don't even know what Hampton is. Last guy, this is going to be RJ Harvey, because now this one, again, this was 2 rounds later than Henderson, or so. This is like the 6th round, where Henderson was like the 4th round and Hampton was the 3rd round. Harvey, my worry level for Harvey is a 10. So
10, he's a 10. I mean, a 10 has to be like a 10's got to be somebody like Woody.
Sean Payton's also an idiot. Like, Sean Payton doesn't like rookies either, and like we've seen it. And the thing is, Dobbins looks great. I guess the one positive is Dobbins is super injury prone, so you have that in your back pocket. But Tyler Bidet isn't going away. Ooh, that sounds cool. Tyler Bidet is not going away. So RJ Harvey, I don't know when the fucker sees the field. Like, when are you like? I can start Henderson at least because I know he's a one play away from a touchdown, a long touchdown. I have not seen Harvey play a lot. When I have seen him, he's looked very, very regular, like very regular, dude. And that's not what we were sold. And the film is hard to compare in college because he played at USC or UCF. That's bad competition, man.
Yeah, I mean, he had a 50-yard run in week 1. Don't forget that.
That was the end of the game with like them like going all out cheating to stop the run. Anyone can make that run. I could make that run.
I mean, I'm not going to punish somebody for making a 50-yard run like that. There's not a whole lot of guys in the NFL can do that. My concern with Harvey is less about the usage right now than the targets. I didn't expect him to get a lot on the ground. The fact that he's getting 2 targets a game, that's the concern. Now, again, we probably got fooled with where Harvey was being drafted, what was being said about him, because this is I fully expect this to unfold like a Kamara situation. I do think that Broncos offense is good, and I think we saw that on display in week 2. So at some point, J.K. Dobbins is a 35-year-old in a 26-year-old's body. Like, I don't foresee him lasting the whole season. And Tyler,
he looks good though, dude. He looks good. Story.
Tyler Bidet, like, how long can Sean Payton realistically keep Tyler Bidet on the field?
I mean, he's playing Adam Troutman over Evan Ingram. So I'm just saying, like, look what he's doing here. He's just doing what he thinks is best. That he knows he has a win now championship team. He doesn't give a fuck about draft capital. That's my worry with RJ Harvey.
Yeah,
it's justified. So until I see it, all right, we're moving on to waivers here. Any other questions we can get to? Blake, real quick, has I'm 0-2. Lamar, Saquon, Trevion, DJ Moore, Devonta Smith, Ridley, Bowers. Any ideas what I should do? Who I should trade? So Saquon and Trevion.
Well,
you could trade Lamar.
I mean, first and foremost, there's no reason to have 3 tight ends on your roster, right? You got Pitts.
That's true.
And Bowers. Pitts had a down game after a pretty good game. I would say, like,
trade Fannin. Trade Fannin and pair Fannin with dude, you can maybe try to get 2 for 1 with or 2 for 2, like Saquon and Fannin, and try to get a running back and a receiver or something.
I mean, 0-2. If you want to make a bold move, you trade Bowers and you roll with Fannin for the rest. Trade Bowers and
I like that one.
There
you go. Because the concern of Bowers' knee injury is real, right?
Yeah. I mean, he looked fine. I have no concern there. He didn't have any. He had the sleeve on. He didn't have any restrictions. It looked like. So I would say like Bowers and JCM and try to get that RB2 slot loaded up.
Yeah. Trade JCM to a 2-0 team. Matt says, which defense would you rather have, Packers D or Bills D? Well, you're already looking ahead at playoff schedules. I'd rather have the Packers D. It's not even close because they have a tougher schedule, but as we've seen, it doesn't matter. They just destroyed the Lions and the Commanders.
Unless you're in a league that you either have to pay for transactions or you're limited in the number of transactions, why would you? You're gonna keep 2 defenses on your roster during a bye week? Like, I'm not interested in that at all.
I would keep the Packers as a second D because they're that dominant. Joshua says RJ didn't even get drafted in my league. I'll play in your league. That sounds cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, cool. All right, we're gonna get to waivers here and start with quarterbacks because this is kind of a big deal for quarterbacks right now. One last question from Colby before we get to waivers. I have 1 spot open on a team. Who do I pick up tomorrow off waivers? Dubs, Franklin, Io Manor, half PPR. If you need to play one right now, it's Dubs. If you want to stash someone, it's Io Manor. Story?
Really? Your stash is Io Manor over Franklin?
Yeah, like 100%. I don't believe a thing that happens in Denver.
Okay. That Denver offense looked really good on Sunday. They looked, and Bo Nix shook off the rust, and he looked really, really good. So my stash is Franklin. Like, I don't trust Sean Payton to the point that Franklin is startable, but if we see 4 weeks in a row of regular production and usage from Troy Franklin, I'd rather have a Denver wide receiver than a Carolina. I'd rather have the Denver wide receiver 2 than the Carolina wide receiver 2.
You mean Tennessee? But I like Io Manor's talent. I'd rather start Dubs this week.
Yeah, I think Dubs is a good play this week for sure. Pick up off waivers. Yeah,
100%. Another one here. Should I trade Bowers? My flex spot is Pearsall, and RB2 is Henderson or Pacheco. I really want to upgrade those 2 spots for a 2 for 1.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who you have on your bench or who's available on the waiver wire, but seems like the outlier year where tight end is relatively deep. So Bowers, I'm not opposed to moving off Bowers, especially because I don't think Henderson or Pacheco are startable this week. I really don't.
Pacheco, definitely not. Should I drop Andrews for Ertz? No. Don't do that. Keep Mark Andrews. We did the same thing last year.
Dude,
he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. It's been a really down 2 weeks, but he started slowly last year. And Lamar was looking for him. Like they just couldn't make it connect. It'll happen.
This is an interesting one from Carter. Trade Josh Allen, Brian Thomas Jr., and James Cook, which is it's a fucking lineup, for Justin Herbert, Jamar Chase, and Josh Jacobs. No, I'm not doing that because Josh Allen. It's a tempting trade because you get Jacobs and Jamar Chase, but like Josh Allen is so much. I'm not buying into Herbert as like a top 5 quarterback just yet. So
No, I'm
Josh
not.
Allen's illegal.
I'm certainly happy with Allen in the low QB1 range, but Josh Allen is a difference maker. James Cook looks great.
Yeah.
And Brian Thomas Jr. has a million targets. They just haven't been ones that either Lawrence can connect with him or he has alligator arms. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't.
If you're going to do that trade, if you're trading the Josh Allen side of it, keep Josh Allen in the trade because you got to trade him because you get Herbert. But downgrade either BTJ or James Cook to whoever your RB2 is or your wide receiver 3 and see if they take that.
If they take that.
That's always a good business strategy. Dylan Sampson a drop? No, not a drop because James Ford's going to be, slowly eased out of the rotation. Sampson is the passing down back, and I think he'd have the full-time job or whatever that would be close to a full-time job if Judkins either gets suspended, because we don't know if that's happening yet. It doesn't seem like it is, but who knows with the NFL.
I'd be floored if he doesn't have some suspension this year, but you never know.
Right. Pearsall and Olave for T. Higgins. No, don't do that one.
Yeah.
I want Pearsall and Olave, unless it's a really shallow league.
Yeah. Is there any update on Juwan Jennings after the game where he came out, came back in? Nothing yet. I would stick with Pearsall and Olave then. Olave is also a guy getting a million targets.
I also have Kincaid. Should I get Ertz for him instead? No, I want Kincaid over Ertz still. I don't know. Maybe it's because Ertz is actually a dinosaur and I've seen Jurassic Park and I know what happens when you fuck with dinosaurs. I don't want that. So
what did Kincaid do on Sunday?
4 for 40, which isn't bad, but like at least he's getting 4 catches a game.
Right. I would probably do that. I'm not certain that Kincaid is going to be as productive as you think he's going to be. Let me find that game. I want to see what his first game was too. But in any event, yeah, Ertz looks like he could be a backup quarterback's best friend this year. Like I get he's old and the dude literally falls down when he catches the ball, but he's getting the ball. Let's see. Kincaid.
Yeah. Josh, I'm not going to put this up, but I do like that squad right there. You're going to have to find a backup quarterback probably this week for Jaden Daniels, but I like that squad. We got Devious says running backs are Robinson, A-Chain, Irving, which is amazing. Judkins and Mason. So you have Mason he's going to be starting now for you, but it's hard to choose someone. I might start Mason over A-Chain, but anyway, trying to trade for a receiver, willing to give up A-Chain or Irving to get an upper echelon wide receiver. Who should I target? You want to target buy low on somebody. So I would probably try to trade Bucky or A-Chain, one of those two, like you said, and I would try to get Drake London or Nico. I think those two are the very depressed assets right now. So you can get them probably in a 1-for-1. Or if you want to try to find a team that's losing that's really running back needy, you can just trade Jordan Mason and try to get like Ibuka or Pearsall or something like that. And keep your trio of like, for sure RB1s.
I think it's safe to say I'd rather have Ibuka over Pearsall the rest of the season.
Yeah, probably. Panic meter on Hampton. We just went over that. I had an 8. I think you had a 5 story.
I had an 8 or 9 immediate and then a 5 long term.
Nick says, some fool in my league tried insulting my intelligence, offered me Hampton for Zay Flowers. That's an insult. Okay, we're going to get to waivers because we can just sit here and answer questions all day. And I will say, I have another guest coming on later doing a second show in about an hour, 12:30 or so. You know what I do. 12:30 Central Time, PM Central Time. Ben, the super fan's going to be on here. We're going to answer all your questions. It's going to be a mailbag. We will answer your questions, though, but we're going to get to waivers. If I see 10 subs, if I get 10 subs, whenever I get 10 subs on this video, we're going to go back to questions. So I propose that for you. Johnny, I'll answer this question real quick. Drop Ingram for Johnson or Wandale. I have Warren. Yeah, you can drop Evan Ingram for anyone, for a bag of peanuts.
I think he means Juwan Johnson. I would rather have, like, if you have Warren, I wouldn't worry about a second tight end at this point. Yeah. I'd drop Ingram for Wandale. But, yeah, you could drop him for a bag of peanuts. Like you said.
100%. All right, waivers. We have some quarterback issues here, so we're going to look at the quarterbacks that are available here. And I'm starting with guys that are 40% owned or less. Penix, Geno Smith, Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Tua, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, Cam Ward. What is your take on that one, Story?
I mean, I think it's got to be Daniel Jones, don't you?
Probably. Although I don't know. I like Penix, and you know what? I know that what we saw was really bad from Geno, but I still think Geno has hope, man. I think that defense is not good. I still have hope in Geno.
I mean, yeah, I given the option though, like I would start like now. God, I say this now, and Daniel Jones could absolutely turn into a pumpkin next week and be the Daniel Jones that we've seen time and again. But right now, Indy ranks second in the league with 588 passing yards, and he's got 3 rushing touchdowns. Again, that's not a sticky stat, but he looks like a top 10 option facing a pretty mediocre Titans defense. They rank 20th in defensive DVOA, and Daniel Jones should be able to carve them up. I mean, Tyler Warren is his best friend. They seem to have this great connection. You know, Pittman looks good. Jonathan Taylor takes the pressure off of the passing game, and yeah, I'm very confident in starting Daniel Jones this week. Like I picked up Geno because he was a free agent last night before his game started because I have Justin Fields and I'm fairly certain that Justin Fields is not going to start. And so my big dilemma tonight is, do I go hard after Daniel Jones or do I roll with Geno and see what happens? So that's where I'm at. I would.
Well, let me give you this thing. Last year, after 2 weeks, the Saints were number 1 in points scored. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
They scored like 35 and like 34. And then they got hurt and all, but like that was bad. And that was with Derek Carr, who has had a better track record in his career than Danny Dimes. So what is your percentage chance that something like that happens to the Colts this year? Or are you saying that they're going to be a set and forget top 10, even top 15, let's be conservative, top 15 offense? You don't think there's any way that the Colts this year parallel what happened to the Saints last year?
No, I absolutely do. Are we talking this week or are we talking long term? Like
long term.
Okay. Like I for certain.
Oh, hold on. I heard it. You said something.
What?
You said absolutely.
Absolutely. I'm always looking for Jack Doyle.
There it is. First one of the stream. It won't be the last. I'm looking at this from a streaming perspective. And this week, I think Daniel Jones is a top streamer. Long term, I have a tough time not having Michael Penix in that conversation.
And if you want to go long term, I think Cam Ward showed us some things, dude.
Yeah. The problem is they're struggling to sustain drives. I think they only have like 12 or 13 first downs per game, and they're leading the league in punts. So he's got some.
And the Colts have not punted once.
First time in the modern era. That's
riddle.
Crazy. Yeah.
Wonder what the odd. And if you told me that before the year, right after 2 weeks, I'd be like, how many interceptions and fumbles does Danny Dimes have? And it's 0. Like, so they have no turnovers, no punts. What kind of world are we living in? All right, let's move on to running back story.
Okay.
Or no, sorry, wide receiver. Wide receiver first. So I'm going at the top, the guys that are going to be less likely to be available, but this is 17% and lower. Romeo Doubs somehow is only 17% owned. Leggett apparently is the worst player ever. We whipped on that prospect. Dante Thornton, Luther Burden, Douglas, Tesla, Hopkins, Io Manor. So I'll tell you how I break it down. Doubs is the most playable guy. If you need a guy this week to start, it's Doubs. If you're looking for upside bench stash, it's Burden, it's Tesla, and it's Io Manor. And I would rank it the other way around. I'd say Io Manor, Tesla, Burden in that order for upside. And then Dante Thornton's kind of in the middle ground where you could maybe play him, but I think he's more of a stash at this point.
He's getting more run than I thought he was going to get. So there is that there. The big concern, obviously, is the quality of the offense. Just want to see how many targets he had this past week. Let's see here. He had 4 targets. Only 1 catch, so it's tough to judge that because Bowers had 8 targets, only 5 catches. Myers 12 targets, only 6 catches. So maybe you can't take anything. Yeah, Doubs, at least for the foreseeable future, Doubs seems to be like the most likely guy to have a regular spot in your lineup. Now, I do like Io Manor on there. These are some pretty deep league options, though. You don't think that there's other guys available on the wire like Troy Franklin, Wan'Dale Robinson?
He's actually lower owned. He's lower owned. He's on the next page, I think.
Gotcha. All right.
I just want to do guys that are like going to be available for everyone, right? And I play deep leagues, so I think most of the people that watch the show are sharp. So I want to appease the smart people story. Next page, we have Christian Kirk, Marvin Mims, Higgins, Butte, Josh Palmer, Wan'Dale Robinson, and I'll cut it off there. Christian Kirk's a nice little stash because they need someone in Houston. Marvin Mims, again, is only ran 20% of the routes, which, Jesus, man. Butte only had 1 catch. Don't buy into the stat line there. 1 catch. He's playing a lot of snaps, but there's a lot of wide receivers there. I know.
Yeah.
And then Wan'Dale Robinson will be everyone's hot pickup this week. Are you buying into Wan'Dale Robinson? And who would you want on this list if you want to start someone this week or you need to stash someone?
I mean, 142 yards from Wan'Dale last week. I think Wan'Dale's the pickup and stash. I don't know that I'd like to see another week or two of this type of, it doesn't have to be 150 yards every week, but I'd like to see another solid week of production, 60, 70 yards, 6, 7 targets, something along those lines. He had 8 receptions on Sunday, and now that was against a pretty bad Dallas defense, very plus matchup. So if his deep ball usage continues, I mean, he's operating as the team's wide receiver too. He was steadily under the radar. I mean, he had 91 catches for 700 yards last year. His yards per target were just abysmal. He should remain, I think, pretty busy. You could spot start him in a pinch, but he's a pickup and hold for me for the time being.
Yeah, and again, we'll get all your questions here after we go through the rest of the waivers. If we do get 10 subs from when I said that originally, we got 2. I will get right to questions, and we will skip some waivers and get back to waivers afterwards. And if Story has to leave, I will finish this show off, top it off, finish it off with some whipped cream. We have next page of wide receivers. These are the deep names that will be available in almost every league. We have Juju, Coker's on IR, Trey Harris, Troy Franklin only owned in 5%, Kyle Williams, Alec Pierce, and Turpin, who's actually getting a lot of run, but he's kind of banged up. So we'll kind of just put it down to Franklin, Juju, and Pierce.
Yeah. I mean, I think the easy one there is Franklin, don't you? He's getting usage.
Yeah.
Again, this is a guy that I'm not sure you can trust Sean Payton right off the bat, but let's give it a week or two. Throw him on your bench and see where things progress. Maybe Cortland Sutton takes a step back. Maybe Sean Payton finally wises up and actually gives the guy who's producing more looks. It's tough to know for sure, but I do like the progression of the team.
All right, I would agree with Troy Franklin. Going on to running backs here, these are the guys that might be owned in some of your leagues, but maybe not. So we have Jaden Blue at 22%, Rico at 16%, Corum, Gainwell, Giddens, and Marks. So I'm going to talk about Woody Marks for a second because he got some run there. Nick Chubb looks okay. But Woody Marks, I feel like we haven't heard a single news, nothing. And just like I predicted, we've heard nothing about Joe Mixon, which is a bad sign. Joe Mixon's not playing football this year. Again, I'm going to keep on saying it every week until it happens. Not that I want it to happen, but in terms of handcuffs, like Giddens, Corum, and Dowdle, how are you ranking those, and who are you attacking, and what are your thoughts on Woody Marks?
Giddens, Corum, and Dowdle. I think it's got to be Corum. I mean, we saw the usage shift on Sunday. I wouldn't read too much into the goal line carry from Corum just yet, but he seems like Kyron Williams, although he's been an Iron Man in the NFL, he had some issues at Notre Dame, some injury issues at Notre Dame. So Corum seems like he's the best handcuff stash. None of these guys are startable, just for the record. None of these guys are startable. But yeah, Corum, and then I'd probably go Woody Marks over Giddens at this point. I think, he took the RB2 role there. He had a 37-yard reception. It was the biggest play of the night for the Texans. I think that at some point, the D'Amico Ryans down there, he's going to get frustrated with the lack of production from Chubb. He's probably going to get the rookie more consistent work, especially as they tend to fall. They lose more games. I still didn't like seeing Daria Gubawale in the 2-minute drill, but that could switch over to Woody Marks. And if that's the case, you got a startable guy.
Right. Gubawale is always going to be active because he's a great special teamer. Moving over to the next page of running backs, we have Rachaad White at 36%. This one is actually higher, so I got him out of order here. Rachaad White, Najee Harris, Tajay Spears, you can throw in an IR, Tyler Algier, Ray Davis. Like, these guys are somehow widely available, which not in my leagues because I own them all. But Rachaad White, Rachaad White or Najee Harris right now? I know Najee Harris is probably more startable because of the fumble from Hampton. What do you think about these guys? Who are you targeting?
I'm not too worried about the goal line carry from Rachaad White. I think the reason that they brought him in, and this is complete speculation, but I think they thought that by putting Rachaad White in, that the defense thought it was going to be a pass because Rachaad White has been relegated to basically passing down work. So I think they were being a little tricky there. I don't think that's likely to continue. So for me, it's Najee Harris, who does look competent. And if that offense is going to continue to score points, I kind of want the guy that didn't almost fumble away the comeback there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, let's see what the next page has to offer here. These are the deep guys. If you're in a really deep league, but Kendra Miller, Chris Rodriguez. I mean, these guys suck. So I think we can kind of just browse over these guys. But who do you want on this page if you're in a deep league and there's nothing else available? Manungai, Jalen Wright, who's coming back, but we don't know what that is. Kendra Miller, Chris Rodriguez. Or
Chris
Justice
Rodriguez.
Hill, if you really need.
That one's pretty easy for me. He can factor in as a change of pace back, and we still don't know what the short yardage usage is going to look like with Eckler out, right? When they had short yardage, they tended to have those short, the West Coast offense, short passes to try to get the first down. If they were a little worried about Daniels, they want to protect him. Those 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1s, the goal line stuff, it's possible that Chris Rodriguez takes over that role. So he's not going to be a pass catcher, but he's a bowling ball. He's 225 pounds or something like that. He kind of fits that mold. So I would target Chris Rodriguez on this page.
All right, sir. Let's move on to tight ends since we have some tight end injuries. I know last week was a big tight end week, but maybe you still need one. Jonnu Smith, Chickaconquo, Brenton Strange, Dalton Schultz highlighted up there. And we had Kate Otten in there. He plays a lot of snaps. Who would your priority target be in this page if you need a guy for the short term? If you have Kittle, for instance.
I'm probably going to go back to the well one more time with Brenton Strange and hope that Trevor Lawrence can somehow get it together. His usage was pretty good. The catchable target rate was very low, but it was low for everybody on the Jaguars. So that's a concern. But anybody else here is a crapshoot. I mean, Chickaconquo is an amazing athlete, but he just hasn't been consistent. Jonnu Smith, he could disappear completely. Dalton Schultz, not really thrilled with that Houston offense. Again, Pat Freiermuth, who knows what's going to happen there. The guy to stash, though, was probably Isaiah Likely, just in case Andrews did lose it. So if you've got a spot for him, he's the guy. If you don't need help immediately, he's probably the guy to target.
All right, next page here. I love how Darren Waller's still on this list. He hasn't played yet, and that offense sucks. Theo Johnson or Tungus are the two for me on this page. What are your thoughts? I know you love Theo Johnson.
I do like Theo Johnson. I was hoping that we'd see more out of him by this point. So it's probably Tungus just because nobody can stay healthy in San Francisco. So you might as well take a guy who's getting snaps and looks. Let me see where Theo.
All right. I have one comment that I think you're going to like story that you're going to break down here. From Andre. What's going on, Andre? Sorry, we missed some comments, but we're going to get to him now. I'm curious who would you guys have picked with the 10th pick if we didn't take Loveland?
Who would the Bears have picked?
Who would you have liked them to pick? Who should they have picked instead of Colson Loveland at 10?
Let's see here.
Mbuka would have been possible. I mean, before what we saw recently, it'd be Hampton, but
but why would you take a wide receiver when you had Rome Odunze kind of coming into his own?
We took one in the second round, Story, so why would we do that?
What the hell's the guy's name? The guy that the 49ers took just after them. Michael Williams, the defensive end, the kid out of Georgia, could have used an end here, right? Or who'd the Cowboys take? They took a guard, right? They took what the hell's his name? Tyler Booker
would have helped.
They could have taken Tyler Booker. I wouldn't. I mean, as much as I love Tyler Warren, and we were worried about the fit, seems like a really good fit in Indianapolis. Shamar Stewart would have been a good pick there. He's another defensive end.
Timothy Park just makes a good point. Or just take Tyler Warren, because if we're going to go that route, how about you just take Tyler Warren?
Yeah, I think an offensive lineman would have been helped, but or defense. The Bears defense looks atrocious, does it not? You could have gotten Jalen Walker, and then you could have circled back around and gotten a wide receiver in round whatever. I would have gone with a
trade back, right? You could do that too.
Trade back. It's a bad spot to be in. There was plenty of talent in this draft.
If you want Loveland though, you could also trade back and probably get him at 19. I don't care what the Bears brass is going to tell you that, oh, there was other teams calling about them. That's what teams say to make themselves feel better, because I don't think they were.
This is a product of a general manager who thinks he's smarter than everybody else in the room. And that's going to continue to be a problem. But they weren't the only ones who made a mistake in the draft. Like, the Raiders are in a rebuilding mode, and they took a running back at 6 overall. I love Jinty as a talent, but why would you take him there, number one, when you've got plenty of needs? And then number two, why would you take him and then not play him? Like, it makes zero sense. If I'm an owner, I'm screaming at Pete Carroll. Of course, if I'm an owner, I'm not hiring Pete Carroll, but that's a different story.
Yeah, well, he's a little old, man. Still chomping that gum, though.
Yeah, I don't know. Jackson Dart, how was that? What a second, Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but okay. I know you have an early meeting tomorrow. Is that right, Story?
Yeah, I do. So I gotta split if we're good. You want to talk streaming defenses real quick before we jump off?
Yeah, Mad has a Mad Capper. Love or Herbert this week? I know Story's answer is going to be Herbert.
It's Herbert. Yeah, I think it's pretty clearly Herbert. Who would you take?
I'm going Herbert, but it's not quite as set in stone as you. I got to see more from her. I got to see that game plan continue, and maybe the fumble from Hampton's going to keep it going. Streaming defenses here. Seattle is my play of the week. I actually stashed Seattle as a second defense, and they actually killed it this week. But I had the Rams, so I started the Rams over Seattle, so I only lost a point or two. Seattle is the easy at home. So hard to play there in Seattle. I got the 12th man, and against Spencer Rattler, that's a smash spot. There's other good ones too, though. Indy, I don't mind Indy versus Tennessee. Not Cincinnati. We don't. Tampa Bay versus the Jets.
Tampa Bay is a really good one. Yeah, I would rank them: Seattle, Indy, Tampa Bay, Atlanta gets Carolina if theirs available. I would. That's probably a good one. The Chargers defense.
Yeah, Atlanta's only owned in 3%.
Yeah, I mean, that's a sneaky one. I'm in a league where a lot of people stash a couple of defenses, so I'm probably going to be targeting either Atlanta or even Tampa Bay. They're probably widely available. Hell, I think you could play Dallas this week against Chicago in Chicago. Like that.
I'm not going to go down that road. I think that a sneaky one, believe it or not, is New Orleans in that game at Seattle. You got Sam Darnold, who's turnover prone. Their defense actually looks respectable.
Yeah, I don't mind it. There's a lot of good options this week. So, like, you're just looking at this page. If you in a pinch, you could start Jacksonville, right? You could start Houston.
Yeah.
Either side of that team. See if the Chargers is available. Chargers are good. I know they're playing Denver, but the Chargers defense looks legit. But the top two are going to be Seattle and Indianapolis, and then the next two is probably Atlanta and Tampa Bay for me.
What are your thoughts on the Dolphins defense Thursday Night Football against the Bills?
Do I think the Bills are going to score 42 points? I do. I really do. I feel bad for Dolphins fans because you got a little taste. It looked good, and they're going to put up 6 points this week, and they're going to get absolutely smoked. So I feel bad for them. But
well, this is the last game for Mike McDaniel, the nerd. So the nerd's gone after this week, folks. Mark it down. They got a 10 days before their next game. It's a perfect time to fire him. They're 0-3. They're going to get embarrassed most likely. What the line on that game is like 12.5. So, I mean, are you laying that many points on Thursday Night Football?
No. If the Dolphins were at home, I would actually, anytime there's a double-digit home dog, out of principle, I take the dog. I take the points because double digits in the NFL at home is just too much. And it seems to work out more often than it doesn't covering. So, but no, I'm not laying 12.5 on Thursday Night Football.
No. CK says pick two: Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson, or Drake London. It's Drake London 100% for sure.
London and
then Harrison.
Yeah. Tyrod Taylor, man.
Wilson and Harrison are close.
Tyrod Taylor is a serviceable backup, but he's not exactly known for high yardage totals.
Leo has Fields or May. This is May. If Fields plays, I could consider it just because Tampa Bay is so good against the run, and that's against running backs, Yeah. It'd be close.
I think I would. I know that when you come back from a concussion, you're supposed to be 100%, but I think I would still stick with May, regardless if Fields plays or not.
It's going to be May. You love May.
Gonna be May.
All right, buddy. Thank you for hopping on. And
good to see everybody in the chat. Get your subs, and we'll reconvene later this week. Good luck on your waivers, everyone.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you later, Story.
Take care.
Get some sleep, man. Hopefully you get some sleep. What about Baker or May? Against the Jets are pretty weak against the run, but we did see Aaron Rodgers toss 4 touchdowns week 1 against the Jets. So I'm probably still rolling with Baker as long as the injury, he hurt his knee last night. As long as that doesn't seem to be too bad, I'm taking Baker. You just got to roll Baker. He throws 2 touchdown passes a week, and he's got pretty good value with his legs. I'll stick around here for a little longer and answer some questions, and then I'm going to be back in like a half hour once I get off after I walk my dog. And my buddy Ben, the super fan, the tech guy, I think you guys have seen him on here before. He's going to join me. We're going to do a straight mailbag episode. Should I start Calvin Ridley or Keenan Allen or Cooper Kupp? It's still Calvin Ridley for me, man. I know it seems bad. Keenan Allen's beat him both games. Calvin Ridley is still getting a healthy target share, and Cam Ward's looking better. So I wouldn't blame you if you started Keenan Allen. I'm definitely not starting Cooper Kupp. So you could start hitting up Fannin right now, depending on who your other options are. Fannin's looking pretty good. He still played a decent amount of snaps, but he's still not the one there. So if you have better options, don't play Fannin. Got Brock Bowers last year and Warren this year. I think I'm always getting a rookie tight end now. I mean, unless you pick Loveland, because that's a rookie tight end, which would have been bad. But you targeted the right one. We got Ali says 14-team PPR, giving up Drake May, AJ Brown, Ferguson for T. Higgins, Tucker Kraft, and Charbonnet. T. Higgins, Tucker Kraft, and Charbonnet. I think you won that trade because AJ Brown I won over Higgins, but you got Tucker Kraft, and I'm guessing you needed a tight end. So I like that trade a lot. Assuming you have a backup at quarterback. I don't know who your backup quarterback is. Oh, you have Trevor Lawrence and Purdy. Yeah. I like that trade a lot because Lawrence will buy you some time until Purdy comes back. I'd rather have Kraft than Ferguson, and Charbonnet is the most elite of the elite backup handcuffed running backs. It's going to be playable some weeks. Hey, Tom, what's going on? Should I pick up Giddens and Troy Franklin, or do the other names entice you? I like Giddens, but we talked about Woody Marks earlier. I mean, if Rico Dowdle's available or any of those other high-end handcuffs, I like them more. I'm not buying it on Troy Franklin just yet. I don't trust Sean Payton. I would pick up Troy Franklin and wait and see if he does it again 2 weeks in a row. The snap share is still high. He's playing the most snaps or second most in the Denver Broncos. I like Troy Franklin then. But this week, I mean, Marvin Mims was barely on the field. I don't know what that's about, but would it surprise you if Marvin Mims ran ahead of him in this next week? No problem, dude. All right, so hold Andrews then. Should I trade Kincaid for Ertz? I still like Kincaid. Definitely has a good stash because he's playable, but he's tied to the Bills, man. I like him in this matchup against the Dolphins too. Got is Caleb Williams a viable quarterback for the rest of the season? Burrow just got injured for me. Yeah, Caleb's fine, dude. That defense looks bad. He's gonna be throwing. He'll get better. He's got good weapons. So I definitely am fine with Caleb. Timothy says, who are you most worried about amongst Brian Thomas, Genty, and London? Well, they all were drafted within like 5 picks of each other, typically end of the first, early seconds. London, I'm least worried about. The only worry I have with London is the possible shoulder, but he played through it. He looked fine. So London, I'm not worried about at all. Brian Thomas is getting a bunch of work, and I do believe Ashton Genty will come around. I'm probably most worried about Genty because it might take a couple more weeks before you get that return, right? That RB1 return that you drafted him for. So I'm going to say Genty I'm the most worried about, although I have 0 shares of Brian Thomas for a reason because I knew he would. I just didn't think he was that good of an actual receiver. Now, the dude's super talented. It's also a Trevor Lawrence problem. Trevor Lawrence is so bad throwing downfield. So that's the problem with Brian Thomas. But it's probably Genty for me. Not worried about London at all. Kush says 14-man PPR, 1 flex. I have a CD, JSN, Tet, and Rome. That's amazing. Should I trade Rome and Hawkinson for Tyler Warren and Keon Coleman? I mean, probably, dude, just because you're trading really high on Rome and Hawkinson's dead. He's dead to us. So, and I love Coleman, and you're kind of getting a value on Coleman just based on his week 2 performance. I think that's kind of a wash, but I prefer getting the elite tight end. We're pretty sure Tyler Warren's that dude. So I think that's a trade where both teams win. You know what I mean? He's going to bank on Hawkinson coming back to prominence or at least startability, and he's getting Rome. But like, do I think Rome's going to continue this? Like, he's wide receiver 3 right now? No, Rome will be a back end wide receiver 2 by the end of the year. Keon Coleman will be a wide receiver 3 for the whole year, but Tyler Warren is probably a top 5 tight end, and Hawkinson is at best top 12. Bill Krosky merits. I would not start him unless I had no other options. I'd probably rather start Nick Chubb. I'd rather probably start Montgomery. I'd start Javonte Williams clearly. I would start Krosky Merritt over like Pacheco though, and like some of those guys that have really sucked. It's a risk reward play because you could end up getting 4 or 5 points, and maybe you could say that about every player, but I really feel this about JCM. Or you could get the JCM coming out party where he plays 80% of the snaps, or maybe just say 60% of the snaps, and he gets 15 touches. Also, I think you got to see what happens with Daniels. Believe it or not, I think Daniels being out might be good for Krosky Merritt because you're going to have Mariota, who's a serviceable quarterback, but they're going to run the ball a lot more if you have Mariota in there. So, and they lean on JCM unless Chris Rodriguez takes over. But there's a reason they had Chris Rodriguez inactive the first 2 weeks, a healthy scratch. So he will get some work, and McNichols will get some work, but it's Bill, as we call him, Bill's backfield. I like that, Bill's backfield. Frank says sell high in A-Chain before he inevitably gets injured. Man, I don't really see him. He's a small player, but he has actually stayed pretty healthy so far in his career. So I see why you would do that. If you can get Jonathan Taylor for him, if you can get Josh Jacobs for him, if you can get Bucky Irving for him, what I would do like a trade for James Cook. I would not trade A-Chain for James Cook or any of those other guys that have like boosted their value from draft day, because that's just not good business. A-Chain's been fine. Like, he'll be fine. I guess you're worried about getting injured, but anyone could get injured. Maybe A-Chain's a little bit more at risk to injure because he's small, but the Dolphins offense can't be this bad forever. When they fire Mike McDaniel, it might get better. It'll be different at least, and different is good in this case. And the team might play harder, man. I think that they fucking hate Mike McDaniel. Doesn't everyone hate that dude? He's a fucking little twerp. I think his stick has like ran out there in Miami. So we see it all the time. Remember when the Raiders fired Josh McDaniels, and they hired a terrible coach in Anthony Pierce, but they won like 2 games in a row. That was the next game is when they scored 60 points against the Chargers at the end of the year when their season was over. So these teams rally for new coaches. The effort's there, the attention to details there, and I think they just are freed. So I think they want to be freed from that twerp. Are you worried about Kyren Williams at all the past 2 weeks? I am very worried about Kyren Williams. It's mostly because of Blake Corum. And yes, Kyron's going to play less snaps than we're accustomed to the last 2 years, but Kyren doesn't look great. Blake Corum looks good. And at the very least, you're going to have a thorn in his side in Blake Corum stealing some work. And there's a chance he gets Wally pipped, bro. I'm just telling you. Sean McVay, they're in a win now mode. If you watch the film, just go back and watch that game. Watch the plays that Kyren gets a carry or catch, and then watch the plays when Blake Corum gets a carry or catch. It is so different, dude. And Blake Corum's not really like a speed merchant. He's not really a guy. He didn't have a fast 40 time, but like it's by comparison because they look kind of similar. Blake's a little taller, a little thicker, but he looks so much quicker. He's shot out of a cannon, where Kyren is just like a pedestrian, man. Now, Kyren's really great in pass protection. Coaches love him. I get McVay loves him, but Blake Corum looks good in pass pro as well, and they drafted him for a reason. So I am definitely very worried about Kyren Williams. Should I start Cortland Sutton or George Pickens this week? It's going to be still Sutton for me, especially after that 1-catch game. Cortland Sutton still had 2 end zone targets in that game out of his 4 targets. So it's still Cortland Sutton for me, although I do love George Pickens. So it's not like I hate George Pickens. If you have another option to bench, then maybe you can roll with Pickens. But I still start Sutton's super safe, man. Tied to a solid quarterback, good offense. Should be a higher scoring game there, too, against the Chargers. Is Jaden Daniels still the best quarterback from in the 2024 class, or would you take someone else? I think he still is. I'm not going to overreact to 2 weeks. It's not like he's played awful. He's passed the ball pretty awful, but, you know, Terry McLaurin didn't show up until a week before the season. Debo's still getting into shape. I think the play calling and the offensive line is the biggest issue there, not so much Jaden Daniels. So, yes, it's still Jaden Daniels. I mean, what do you put the over-under on as any other quarterback? I mean, maybe Bo Nix could do it, but like any quarterback in that class, I know there's a lot of them, who's going to reach a championship game? It's an NFC or AFC championship game, which Jaden Daniels did his rookie season. Like, when is that going to happen for any of these guys? Year 3, year 4? The point is Jaden Daniels already accomplished that with a piss-poor roster. So Drake May's not getting there anytime soon. Caleb Williams isn't getting there anytime soon. J.J. McCarthy's fucking terrible. Michael Penix, okay, pretty good, but he's not getting to an NFC championship game, and Jaden Daniels did that. So until further notice, Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback from that class. and still elite, man. Like, don't panic as an owner of him. Yeah, Drake May looks more of like a Josh Allen mold of a guy that's going to take a little bit of time. And we saw some flashes last year. We've seen a couple steps this year. Maybe the week 1 was rough, but yeah, Drake May's a dude. I still kind of believe in Caleb. It's about his head, man, because he's got all the ability, and he is still tied to a good offensive mind. So it's probably not going to happen this year, at least not when it matters for this year, because they're going to be 1-7. Next the time they look up, they're 1-7. But Caleb's got to take his lumps. You know, a lot of great quarterbacks start off awful with in terms of win-loss record, in terms of statistics. Troy Aikman comes to mind. Troy Aikman won 1 game his rookie year. Peyton Manning won 1 game his rookie year. So what did I say about JJ, Timothy? Did I call him a piece of shit? On that note, I'm going to play you. I never played the intro for the show. I don't know if you guys were here yesterday, but I like the intro. And this is, if you like that JJ comment, you're going to like this one. Here you go. Figure you'd like that. Oh, yeah, he's terrible, but I like the turd analogy better. But I'm not giving up on JJ McCarthy, but here's my worries of McCarthy. He doesn't look, the game's too fast for him, which, okay, he's a rookie, essentially a rookie. He doesn't throw a very crisp football, and he can't drive the ball into tight windows. And he looks just scared. He doesn't take chances, and when he does, they're picked. He was sold to us as a pretty mobile guy. Doesn't seem like physically up to the task like Drake May, right? And even Caleb. Caleb is a monster scrambling dude. Like, he does not look like Caleb Williams out there running. So we got I lost Burrow. Do I pick up Browning? Dude, Browning's a gunslinger, man. He's good. Downgrade in real life and still a downgrade from Burrow in fantasy. That's why I'm not as worried about the ancillary weapons in Cincinnati. But if there's possibly better options. I don't like Browning this week. So Browning has the Vikings, and Browning's a young quarterback. The Vikings defense just tees off on I'm going to call rookie quarterbacks. Browning has been in the league 3 years now, but he's essentially has the experience of a rookie. So I don't want to start Browning. You saw what Penix did against that defense and what Caleb did. Caleb did okay. Don't start Browning this week, but I would probably pick up Browning and try to get a Daniel Jones you could hedge your bets with. You could pick up Michael Penix this week and start the other guy, and then you can roll with Browning down the stretch most games. That's a good point, Blake, because Carson Wentz, if Carson Wentz comes in, and we know the Vikings have I'm not going to say a championship roster, but almost a championship roster. Elite coach in Kevin O'Connell. You're going to get Addison back during week 4, right? Hawkinson might play himself into shape or whatever the fuck he's doing over there. Carson Wentz was literally the front runner for MVP. Granted, this was like, 5-6 years ago now, but he's still not old. He's not an old dude. I get he sucked in Indy, but everyone has sucked in Indy. So I'm not going to put that on him necessarily. If they win 3 out of 4 games with Carson Wentz, can they go back to JJ McCarthy? Should they go back to JJ McCarthy? Probably not, because Carson Wentz was a former number 2 overall pick, I believe. And how old is Carson Wentz? 31, 32? I don't think he's like 35. So definitely a better prospect and had a better start to his career. Got a little derailed from that ACL injury. But then Sam Darnold was, and we saw what Sam Darnold did there. So I'd be if I'm a JJ McCarthy, like dynasty owner, or, I had JJ this year, you got to put him on IR maybe, but there's a good chance that he's just dust this year because Carson Wentz takes that job. Colin says, do I like Troy Franklin? How good will he be? I'm a little concerned. I don't know the week-to-week usage. I'm surprised how much they played him. I'm kind of a Pat Bryant guy, and Pat Bryant's a rookie, mind you, and Troy Franklin was a college teammate of Bo Nix. So Wentz is 32, says Colby. Okay, so that's not old. I think Franklin's a stash, and you could play him this week if you don't have any other better options. I personally like Alec Iomanner as a stash better because end of the year, I think the Titans are going to be pretty serviceable on offense, and Iomanner looks like a monster. But I could see the appeal of picking up Franklin. I mean, he had 9 targets, 8 catches. He played as many snaps, maybe even played a couple more snaps than Courtland Sutton, like 90%. All right, I'll answer a few more questions. If we get 5 subs in this video in the next 5 minutes, I will stick on for another 10 minutes, and then I'm going to be back on for about 12:30 or so 35 minutes roughly. I'll be back on with my other partner, Ben, and we're going to be doing a straight mailbag, just shit show episode where we just talk about God knows what, mostly fantasy football. But oh, you still got Caleb? Yeah, dude. If you have Caleb, then that's awesome because you start Caleb this week against Dallas, which is a good matchup, and then you just roll with Browning and Caleb the rest of the year. So you're fine. Don't pick up anyone else. Just pick up Browning. I wouldn't use a waiver claim on Browning though. Save your waiver unless you're like the 11th or 12th claim, or if it's fab. I wouldn't spend too much on Browning because you have Caleb. I'm fine with Caleb the rest of the year. No, you're right. Wentz has not had any team around him. No offensive line around him. Now the Vikings offensive line looks pretty suspect, but Carson Wentz, man, I root for the guy. I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of people don't really like him. He's like a lot of his teammates haven't liked him, but I never had any issues with him. I don't like I'm not saying personally because I don't know him, but it didn't come off as a douchebag to me, and doesn't come off as like a Cam Newton like lazy player or anything. So I'm rooting for Carson Wentz, and this is is there any better situation to come into if you're Carson Wentz? You got 2 weeks of sitting behind watching awful quarterback play. You can't play any worse than J.J. McCarthy's played. And that's saying a lot because Carson Wentz has had some bad games and some bad years and some bad turnovers. But it's all upside, right? It's like dating a girl after she came off like dating a fat, like abusive dude, right? Who's like unemployed, fat, abusive, and then you date her and you're going to seem awesome. Like even if you're not awesome, and I think most of you guys are awesome, but easy spot to come into is my point. Well, O'Connell is the quarterback whisperer, but apparently J.J. McCarthy's deaf. So, he's got to get Braille or sign language, and then he can sign language to J.J. McCarthy because I don't know what the hell that was. I'm fucking funny, bro. Would you start Devonta Smith, Keon Coleman, or Olave? I think I'm still starting Devonta Smith. He's due. That passing attack has looked anemic, but I still trust in the Eagles. And Devonta Smith's an elite talent, man. Keith, that is a good point. The worst thing in fantasy is having a good team on paper that doesn't end up putting up points. Here's the way I look at it, because I have 25 teams, right? 25 redraft teams. And I have some teams that I don't like that much that are 2-0. And I also have some teams I really like. And, for I have Travion Henderson as my RB2 or something like that. But the rest of the team's solid, and I'm 0-2. And maybe I went up against some monster matchups first 2 weeks. Would you rather be 2-0 with a bad team, like below average team, or would you rather be 0-2 with a good team? Because, yes, your chances to make the playoffs are way less at 0-2, but I trust the talent, right? The talent. And the thing is, when you have guys that are struggling, odds are they will go back to the average, right? And same with when you have like Roma Dunze. Like Roma Dunze is not keeping this up all year. So you're probably 2-0 if you have Roma Dunze, but is that gonna maintain? Probably not. You think Ironman pushes for wide receiver 1? And would you start Ironman over Ridley? No, I don't think he's pushing anything. But I do think that he's earned an every down role, and I think that his skill set matches up more with Cam Ward than Calvin Ridley. Cam Ward likes to throw up some 50-50 balls, and that's not Calvin Ridley's game. And Calvin Ridley's more of a timing receiver, and Cam Ward just doesn't have that with him yet, or with anyone for that matter. And he trusts Io Manor because that guy is a monster. So I still wouldn't start him over Ridley, and if I had Ridley, I wouldn't really want to roster Io Manor because it's just why would I want 2 Titans? But I have Io Manor almost everywhere. I picked him up. I drafted him in some spots in my deep leagues, and I held him. And then I picked him up after week 1 when I saw him playing ahead of Tyler Lockett. And now is your time to get him, because if you don't get him and he comes out and has 80 yards and a touchdown, you're going to have to use a waiver claim on him for sure. And you're not going to get him. So right now, you could probably not use a waiver claim tonight. Pick him up at 2 a.m. when they clear and just sit him on your bench for a little bit. CK, just found the channel. Thank you for advice. Question, 12-team league, half PPR. Pick 2. Dobbins, Javonte, Henderson, Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason, 100% you have to play. Like Jordan Mason's a top 15 back for the next 4 weeks. Probably for the rest of the year, because I don't think Aaron Jones is really going to get his job back. Not that he even had it, because it was a 50-50 split already. Aaron Jones looks cooked, and he has a hammy. Jordan Mason for sure, and Javonte Williams. I'm starting those 2. J.K. Dobbins is close. And then, dude, you got good options there, because Henderson is perfect to sit in your bench right now. Dobbins has a really tough matchup against the Chargers, and Javonte has a nice matchup against the Bears. Jordan Mason is just going to be the bell cow. Dude, Jordan Mason's going to get 25 touches next week. No problem, bro. Hope you sub and get the next next couple streams. I am going to be back in here about 30 minutes. So I'm about to log off here. I got to take my dog on a quick walk, and then I'm going to have my buddy Ben joining me. It'll be a new stream, a new title. I'll probably just do a fantasy mailbag as the title. So if you sub, you'll have the notification come up if you want to join. If not, almost every night I'm doing these. Actually, it's been every night the last 3 weeks. A couple of times I do 2 shows a day, as like today. When news breaks, I try to get on if I can. Sunday, we have 2 shows. And no problem, Timothy. And I will say, if you guys gamble, again, I keep on saying this, but Friday night, 7 p.m., I release my YouTube video. It's only 5 minutes long. It's not a live stream of my best bets. 7-1 to start the year. Went 5-0 last week. All player props. Want to make some money. And then Saturday night, we do the gambling show, which is super fun. It's usually late, like midnight. And then I go through my best bets, my long shot, like first touchdown picks, but I do my actual like bets for the show. But I would view the show on Friday when it comes out, because those lines will change. If you don't get those bets in by Saturday night, a guy I have at 45 yards is probably going to go up to 48 because I'm usually on the right side of him. But that's a good show. It's really interactive. We all just go through and pick a couple parlays. We pick every game, over-unders, all that kind of shit. So I do appreciate you guys. Hopefully you sub, and I'll see you maybe in 30 minutes. If not, I'll see you at another time. And if you don't like the channel, then I'm sorry. But I'm glad you checked it out. And there's other. Yeah, CK knows how the gambling show goes. That's a fun one. This Saturday it's going to be late because I'm going to with my wife to her friend's house for like a bonfire and couples thing. I don't know. So I'm going to try to get out of there by like 11:30 so I can get back here. So it might be a 1 a.m. thing, but I'm not going to miss it, gentlemen. Like, I don't care. And then I'll be back on Sunday morning. I don't sleep much, man. Eventually, maybe I can start making money for this and my lack of sleep will pay off, but I actually do enjoy hanging out with you all. So 30 minutes, I'll be back on 12:30, 12:35. Be back on if you want to check that out. Otherwise, I'll see you on the flip. Peace. Be positive. Love each other.